Sometimes in life, there are things you keep saying you want to do for years, maybe even decades. And for me, whitewater rafting through the Grand Canyon was one of those things that I just wanted to do. And here on this channel, I like to share thoughts, experiences, lessons I've learned through life, business relationships, faith, health, travel, and just simply getting older. Not because I have all the answers, definitely don't, but because sometimes honest conversations and shared experiences can help all of us think a little differently about our own lives. So the interesting part is, this trip probably never would have happened if it weren't for a conversation that I had while driving for Uber. I picked up a passenger one day who had just returned back to Detroit from a 7-day rafting trip he had taken through the Grand Canyon with Western River Expeditions. I had all kinds of questions. Now, this was back in 2019, and the way he described it, it just stayed with me. He talked about the beauty of the canyon, the rapids, the silence, the stars at night. That really got me. The feeling of being completely disconnected from the normal world for an entire week. And honestly, the more he talked about it, the more I thought, man, I need to do this someday. Someday, right? Someday. Someday finally became August of 2024, 5 years later, and I finally decided, let's get it done. I mean, think about that. Now, originally, the trip that I heard about in 2019 was the full 7-day rafting experience. Honestly, that's the one I really wanted to do. But, you know, like a lot of things in life, sometimes finances become part of the picture, right? And after thinking about it for years, I finally realized something very important. If I kept waiting for the perfect time or the perfect budget, like anything, I might never do it at all. So instead of continuing to postpone it, I booked the 4-day Grand Canyon rafting trip with Western River Expeditions. I'll advertise for them because it was great. It featured Bar 10 Ranch. And honestly, I'm so glad I did. Man, this trip, it was amazing. It started out in Las Vegas. I actually came in a day earlier to enjoy the area and the hotel. And I chose to stay at the hotel where they pick us up from. Because I'm so glad I did, because I just started meeting friends and people who now friends, who were going to be going on the trip. And one thing I hadn't really thought about beforehand was how this would become a very personal and intimate experience with 23 other people. So it was so cool. Some of these people I still stay in touch with today. Now, the next morning, they picked us up in vans and took us out to a small airport where we flew in some small 6-passenger planes to the Bar 10 Ranch for the day and overnight. We flew over the canyon and the river, and of course, and even right over the top of Hoover Dam. Man, that was amazing in itself. Then we landed on a small strip of land, and they took us in Jeeps out to the ranch. I felt like I was a kid in a movie. I mean, this was so wonderful. Now, this ranch was something pretty cool as well. Over 200,000 acres, including grazing rights, right on the edge of the Grand Canyon, completely off the grid, powered only by solar energy, literally in the middle of nowhere. Now, one cool thing was they had hummingbird feeders outside the main lodge. It was like amazing. You walk in, these hummingbirds were just constantly flying around us all day. And we were like right in front of my face, right here, okay? And you could just see them, and you can touch them, but they're hovering right there. We went horseback riding. We did some skeet shooting, learned about ranch life, and even tried lassoing. And they fed us incredibly well for both dinner and breakfast the next morning. Now, one thing I almost didn't do was take the optional 4-wheel sunset ride out to the Grand Canyon River, mainly because it cost extra. But a few of the people I met had talked me into it at the last minute, and honestly, oh my gosh, that 4-wheeler drive was so cool. I'm so glad I did it. Believe it or not, I had never ridden a 4-wheeler before, At 66 now at the time, right? Especially not on rough desert trails out in the middle of nowhere. It was absolutely incredible. Then getting to the Grand Canyon rim right as the sun was going down, hearing some stories, watching the colors change, and then riding back as it got dark, it was phenomenal. That night, we slept in covered wagons, like something out of the Old West. Now, they didn't move, of course, and yes, they had electricity, but it still felt like such a unique experience, and it really was. I'll never forget this. Sometime during the night, I got up to use the bathroom. Of course, it was an old guy. And this is where the first real magic happened. There were almost no lights anywhere because everything shuts down out there because it's all on solar power. And when I looked up at the sky, I honestly couldn't believe what I was seeing. You know those videos where the stars look so bright, it almost feels like the sky is moving? That's exactly what this looked like. I laid down on a picnic table and just stared upward for probably 20 minutes. It felt like I could almost reach up, grab the stars. The sky was so dark and so clear that I could actually see satellites moving across it, constellations everywhere, and the Milky Way brighter than I've ever seen in my life. And honestly, if the trip had ended right there, it already would have been worth it, I promise. But it didn't. The next morning, after breakfast and packing up, and by the way, they provide basically everything you need except a bag of personal items. That's basically all I brought. We got into helicopters now. Small helicopters, 4 passengers. Helicopter flew us along the canyon, over Hoover Dam, and then dropped down into the canyon right where our rafts were waiting. The views, breathtaking. And there were constant oohs and ahs from everyone on board, like we were watching fireworks for the first time. Then came the rafting experience itself. 89 miles through the Grand Canyon on the Colorado River. And honestly, if you've ever seen the movie Cars, and those scenes where the Grand Canyon almost looks unreal, like little models and miniature landscapes, that's actually what it felt like and looked like at times. Every turn through the canyon revealed another unbelievable view. The deeper we went, the taller the canyon walls became. And more often than not, everyone just sat quietly in complete awe. We'd be talking and then all of a sudden it'd be just stopping. 2 nights of camping beside the river was unbelievable too. The first night I remember seeing red ants everywhere and thinking, oh my God, there's no way I'm sleeping out here. But one of the guides told me that they'd disappear once it got dark. And they did. It's unbelievable. So, kind of cool. We were on the sand, the rock coming up, the river just flowing by at a fast pace. We slept on our cots under the stars, right next to that rushing water. Didn't even have to have tents. I barely slept. Not because I was uncomfortable, but because I couldn't stop looking at the sky. The stars, the sound of the river, the warm night air, the complete stillness. It was sensory overload, I guess you could call it, in the best possible way. On the trip, we experienced more than 15 Class 2 and 3 rapids, massive canyon walls that were towering up among us, and moments of quiet beauty that are really just hard to describe unless you experience them. You've got to experience them. One of the things that impressed me most was how well everything was organized by Western River Expeditions. Yeah, plugs in for them. The guides were experienced, calm, knowledgeable, made everyone feel comfortable no matter their experience level at all. And we had from kids to older people. And did I mention they packed us lunch and cooked us a buffet for dinner and breakfast? Like I said, we only had to bring clothes and an adventurous attitude, really. And these weren't tiny little rafts either. They were huge. We had like 13 people on a raft. There were motorized J-rig boats that make the rapids exciting while still feeling very safe and professionally guided. So it's really for everybody. And every day brought something different. Huge whitewater rapids, calm, peaceful stretches of river. Even saw some goats, or not goats, rams, or whatever. Some beautiful hiking opportunities. One hike took us up to the canyon using ropes in certain places until we reached this beautiful hidden waterfall inside of a cave, flowing down into a crystal clear pool. It was amazing. Another time we climbed a small cliff above the river. We were jumping into the water below, like 20 feet down. And man, I hesitated for a bit, but eventually I jumped too. And honestly, I can still feel that excitement and exhilaration just as I'm talking about it. That river really moved too. On the final leg of the trip, we transferred into jet boats that took us the rest of the way. I think it was like 100 miles through the end of it to where our buses were. And that was so cool. And even on the ride back, we drove across the Hoover Dam, which was really cool. We saw lots of scenery, desert landscapes, almond farms. And there's something else that just happens when you spend that much time away from the phones, the noise, the stress, and everyday distractions. You know, your mind starts slowing down. You think differently. You breathe differently, really. You just notice things more. I think that's one of the reasons that this trip meant so much to me. I mean, seeing the Grand Canyon and getting down into the Grand Canyon was so cool. Experiences and memories just matter so much, and especially at this time in my life. But I think it should matter through everybody's life. And I think if there's something meaningful you truly want to do, there just comes a point where you have to stop and stop just saying one day, and just finally decide, I'm doing it. I'm doing it, okay? And that's where I am in my life right now. And honestly, I think one of the biggest lessons I took away from the trip is this. Sometimes we postpone meaningful things, meaningful experiences, because we think they have to happen perfectly. But life doesn't always work that way. So it's from a 7-day to a 4-day trip, right? Sometimes it's just important to finally do it. Because memories don't happen while we're endlessly waiting or planning for something, for someday. They happen when we finally say yes to living. For me, this was one of those moments. And honestly, I know this is something I'll remember for the rest of my life. There's no doubt about it. Just rewriting this and preparing for this, it was just awesome. So again, you know, I talk about a lot of things here, and I love being able to make all this thoughts and sharing with people. I share new videos every Monday and Thursday, so hopefully if you've ever taken a bucket list trip of your own, I generally love hearing about it. Write it down in the comments. Maybe it's something I'll want to do as well, and add to my own list, right? Love to hear your comments. There's still so much beauty to experience in this country and in this life. So, you know, until next time, don't just wait for someday. Go make some memories. Take good care of yourself and those that you love. And again, I'm Dan from Michigan. I'm glad you spent the time here. And just one final thought, that Grand Canyon. You know, a lot of people said, well, I've gone to the Grand Canyon and I've seen it. And that's true. It's amazing to look at it from the top. But to experience down in the bottom, and there's other trips where you can do more hiking if you have the ability to do that. You know, you're more fit and be able to do some of those things. And one of them, I think you hike either in or out or both out of the canyon. So from the top down or the bottom up, one of the two. So some pretty cool stuff. And I would highly recommend, if there's any way you can do this trip, find a way to do it. In the meantime, have a phenomenal day.